Sega Sky Rocket 1970 Electro-Mechanical. Anyway, I'm sure I've done an intro by now, but the problem is that inside this cabinet right here, inside this big container in here, slides right on these rails, is supposed to be the big canvas piece that is viewed through this mirror, through that glass. Look how dirty all that is. And there's the black lights and things, and it's supposed to sit right here. You can see all this stuff down here is just crumbly. Look at that. It's just, so this was foam rubber that was on the rollers for the canvas, and it has just disintegrated. So I'm having to not only clean, I pulled it out thinking I needed to clean the canvas, but I got to do a lot more than that. So then I thought, okay, well, if I'm going to do that, I'll just pull the canvas off. So this is the mechanism that I pulled out. Okay, so the way it works, as you can see, it goes up over the top of this piece. There's actually one of the rollers I have right down there has been taken off from right here and across over to there. So, and that's the roller that drives with this belt that drives the thing. Okay, so you see that? All right, well, I took that off, and then there is another roller, this one here, that fits on a set of brackets that goes right here and one to the other side. So basically the canvas, it goes down, following my finger here, goes around this one, up past these switches here, because that's your target switches, up over this one, back down again, under this one, and then back up again like here, and go back over the top. So it makes a big A, if you will. A big A. It goes all the way up, down, back up again. So I needed to clean it, and I've got to get in there and clean it. It's just such a mess. So what I've decided to do is, of course, try to take this off. Well, then I get it all the way down and figure it out that all these brackets here, there and there and there, are all welded together. So the only way that I think I know I'm going to be able to get this thing apart and get it out, now that I've got a big loop of the canvas, I should be able to take this canvas off of here over this loop like this and lay it down. So now you can see how it's laid down. You see all the crud underneath there. That's all that foam that used to be glued to these rollers. Well, they're all down there. So that's really not good. So we got to get all that stuff out. You see these holes here? These are the holes that those switches falls into in order to know whether or not you got a hit on the target or not. So that's kind of cool. Anyway, well then, since all these brackets are all welded together, so what I'm going to try to do is, over that there are two brackets that it sits on with rollers there, and one on the front on the other side, and there's bolts that go through there. So you may be able to see one right there. So I'm going to pull those bolts out, which should free up one side. Then I'm going to take, or actually I'll do it first, I'll take this blue panel off, and this blue panel has not only a black light stuck to it, but it's also got a whole string of lights hits underneath here that all needs to be taken off. So I'm going to pull these screws, pull this off, undo the bolts either on one side or the other. That should allow me to then slip the canvas out. And once I get the canvas out, then I can be a little more aggressive on cleaning that up and be gentle with cleaning this up so that we don't mess it up. Hopefully that'll work. If it doesn't, well, we'll find out in the next video. Well, there it is. It's out. Okay, it's out. Now, the reason I had to take it out that way is because there's two sections that are tied together, there and here, and these pieces actually glue. You can see the old glue here. I don't think it's sewed. It just appears to be glued together, and I'm concerned that if I pull that apart, I wouldn't get it back together again, so I'm not taking that apart. All right, so the way I got that out was on each end of the bracket. Once I had the thing so it could lay over and pull it all to one side, like over here, then what I did was underneath each of the brackets here on the caster rails, there are 3 screw holes in there that these bad boys screw up inside, and I'm going to put them back as soon as I can figure out how to do that. Anyway, I'm going to put those back so I can hold it together while I do the cleanup. So now I've got it to where I can get all this old, you can just see it, man, it's just all over it. It's just stuff just powdered out, man. It's just like powder now, that old stuff. So all that's got to be cleaned up, and then there's lights on the front here, and oh my gosh, they're so dirty, so bad. There's a glare on the screen, sorry, it's getting late at night. Anyway, so the next stop, blow all this off, clean up that, put it back together again. All right, back at it. I got pulled in a big fluorescent tube so I could see better working on the thing. What we did do is go in and clean up all the glass, the mirrors, the see-through bezels. I cleaned up all the as best they could, the black light pieces in here. These row of lamps here, this one doesn't have a bracket on it, but these row of lamps right here, this is how it traces bullets down in the game. Whenever you shoot, the lights will light in sequence, and underneath this piece here is its black mask, starting wide at the top and narrows down to the bottom, so you get this look of the rockets as they go down, but it's just the lights running in sequence. Pulled those out. The one on this side had 10 lamps bad in it. The one on this side had like 7 lamps bad in it. This one is working, but the little lamp bracket is gone. I don't know if we'll be able to find one of these or not, but right now it's hanging in there. It looks like it'll probably work like it's supposed to. I also went through all the individual switches down here, pulled each one up, ran some emery paper through the switches, made sure they were all clean, cleaned all those switches, and got all that clean. We vacuumed out most of the other pieces. So it's really been most of a cleanup day and fix a few things. Around the front over here, you can see how much clearer now. You can actually see all the way into the floor and through the glass. This is the front marquee. It also has a score along here. Check these lights. There were only 2 lights out. Well, 1 light out, but this socket here that I pulled is just totally trashed. For some reason, that one socket decided to corrode up. So anyway, I'm going to clean this bulb, make sure it works before I clean it, and then we'll be putting the marquee back on. You can see through the glass with the light on these sparkles that are in here. Well, that's due because the paint on this bezel is flaking like most pinball glass. So after we cleaned it the best we could, we went back and we sprayed it with some clear acrylic to arrest that flakage. We did the same thing with the Jet Rocket. Here's the Jet Rocket marquee over here, and as you can see, it was also flaking there in some of the other areas. We were going to try to clean it because it should be nice and bright on this side, but yeah, as we tried to touch it, we saw that it would flake more, so we went ahead and just sealed the whole thing. But this side looks pretty decent. I mean, obviously we've got some ugliness down here, but the rest of it looks pretty good. That'll be going back on. So right now, today was a good day to clean things, get the glass and all that cleaned up, and all the lights and all the switches are cleaned. So what we're waiting on now is I gotta pull that one socket and then put that back. Also, there was even though it's not necessary, there was a lift channel right here, like you see, like right along here where you see on pinball machines underneath this glass. I have it off because it was super rusted, but I cleaned it up, and then I have some metallic chrome paint, and I went ahead and chromed it and painted it, so we put it back. It'll look as nice as it was. If not, it'll look better because it was rusted, and now it's, at least it's not rusted. The rest of the stuff, some of these other pieces, we'll get to it as we get the game going. Oh, so this piece here is a component that I took off. Let me show you where that goes. Inside the player mech, which is really something interesting I figured out. I thought that the mirror movement was based on switches and relays or whatever, and potentiometers, but it's not. It's actually purely mechanical. As you move the wheel here, see a little fan over there, it turns. So that's how it actually speeds up or slows down the movement of the fan itself. It'll spring it, it'll pull it based on this. And you can actually bend these in or out to make the mirror move back and forth faster. Now the piece I pulled off, there was a big solenoid, 110 volt solenoid that tacks in right here. There is a gentleman that does have flippers.com. He does have this solenoid, but it's like $110. And what it does is there's a piece that goes, it comes down here, levers across. There's a notch in it and a spring that ties in over here. And what this does is when the gameplay is on, the solenoid pulls that up, and it releases this so that the steering wheel can move. When the game is over, the solenoid discharges, allowing the bar to come back up. It settles on that notch, and the locks the game in place, so you can't move the steering wheel when the game is not in play. It kind of keeps people from going over there and just banging on the wheel, because it's not going to move till you put something in it and it makes it as. I'm not going to put that on just yet, mainly because it's $110 for that piece, but we'll see. If we get a lot of abuse on it, we'll probably end up doing that. Anyway, so that's the progress made today. More coming. We did pull the sheet out. We've got it completely out. We looked at that the other day. I saw some video today. It looks like there's a lot of paint missing on these houses and things, because apparently there was lots of different color paint to give it more of a look of a city look, of different color city and things coming through there. But we still got to figure out how to clean this. This is a foam rubber type of material that's been printed on. We're not sure how we're going to clean that just yet. So anyway, so that's where we're at so far. We're making progress. All right, so back at it. One of the things that concerns me the most, we can go ahead and fix, is the original plug, which is here. Yeah, kind of thinking that's not safe, and considering this like old lamp cord wire. Anyway, we're going to replace that. I've got some nice new heavy duty cord we're going to replace that with. We'll tie it in back here at the corner. If you notice, there's only 2 prongs on here, and there's only 2 wires there. This one has 3, and we're going to run 3. I got some other wire here. I wanted green, but they were out of green, so we're just going to use gray wire. And I'm going to tie this green, and we're going to bring it all the way up, and we're going to tie it to the base of the transformer, just giving the system some point of ground that it doesn't have. It'll make me feel a little bit safer about the things. I may eventually turn the ground, tie it into there, and maybe a couple of the other components around, like the metal coin box and places where people touch, just to make sure there's good ground all the way around, because this thing does not have it. So we're going to do that today, and then once we get that up, we're actually going to turn it on without the system in it, without the canvas system in it, and test the lights, and we'll see how that goes. All right, it's a little fuzzy because, well, it's black lights. I got the wire hooked up there in the bottom, put a little knot in it so it wouldn't roll out. It won't pull out. That'll keep it. There's 3 separate black lights that run this. I've got this one sitting, the blue one down here, this one here. This normally sits on the canvas thing that holds it, that goes right here. But since I'm not putting that in, but I wanted to see this lights. Also, there's lights in here that says mission completed. We want to kind of look and see if that's going to work. But anyway, those lights are now working. Now the next thing to do is we want to see if we start a game. This game does have the ability. Oh wait, one of the things the speaker, when we got it, the speaker that went right there was missing. So I got a speaker for it. That speaker, I'm assuming, there we go. I'm assuming, I don't know exactly what ohms the speaker's output's supposed to be. It's not printed on there. I don't have the thing. So we're going to go ahead and plug this guy in. I know it works. But that's the sound system there, volume control. Various pots here on the sound to adjust the different sounds. So anyway, we're going to push this button here, which adds a credit, which basically starts the game. So we're going to do that and see what lights up. So we got the sound from the thing. Now, when we're looking at it through this way, when we shoot a target, so there should be a motor that runs that makes the little lights run. That may be this motor here. It doesn't seem to be running. Of course, it's not going to score any hits because because there's no I'm going to see. All right, so there should be, there it goes. Okay, so these switches here, hit, 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 that's the 3 rockets shooting. These here, okay, so this one here, this rotator here, this is the one that should be making my rockets down the thing, shooting down. Since I'm not getting lights, either my connections are bad or I'm not getting power to there. That's the next thing. Oh, look, it's probably that fuse right there that's out. Looks like we need to check our fuses, which, dummy me, we should have checked that before we started, but I thought we did. It may have come loose. It might be broke or bad. So anyway, we're going to let there is a timer motor somewheres. It might be up on the I don't know where the timer motor is. We might have an endless game here. So those are hitting. Let's see. Let's see if we can't make a hit. I'm not sure which one of these, what these do, so we're going to push one and see what happens. That didn't do nothing. That one didn't do nothing. We know this is these here are the lights for hits. We click. Where's the timer motor? Oh, there's the timer motor. That should be moving right there. That timer motor right there should be turning. Little wheels should turn, and when it's in that switch, it should be done. Actually, that should say it's over, and it's not. So, yeah. All right. So, thought we were going to check the lights, but we're not. Okay, so here's what I figured out. This timer motor here is supposed to turn. This motor here is supposed to turn, and it feels warm. And it's supposed to turn this wheel, and when it does, it turns this. You hear the thing come on? And then it should turn. Yeah, until it gets there, and game over. So I think what's going on here is my motor's froze up. It's trying to turn, but it's not. So we're going to have to pull that motor and mechanism out, take a look. That unplugs right there, right here. We'll unplug the motor, we'll pull that mech out, and then take a look at it and see what's going on there. Okay, that's the next thing to fix. All right, so this is the timer motor. This is the gearbox for the timer motor, and it was bolted to that top with this motor actual assembly tied in and spinning these gears. I pulled it out. This turns freely, but these gears, oh man, it's just all gunked up and stuff. And of course, look how many stages down it goes. So there's also a bearing loose in there. See the little bearing right over here? I'm sure that probably came off when I pulled it apart. I think it goes on this one right here. But anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull it over here and take it apart. So let's see what happens. Well, the first thing we're going to do, well, we just dropped that down in there. So let's see just a gear at a time. I'm going to take these apart a gear at a time so I can record it. So that one goes there. The next one is the one over here. Oh, it's really gummy stucky. So this one comes out and it goes here. And then there's a brown one. See it? It's in here. It comes out. So I'm going to put it like second level. This is like third level. Wow. This is like, yeah, see, it's really stuck in there. I may have to get my needle nose to pull that out. Anyway, I'm going to pull these out, line them up here, clean them all out, put it back in, re-grease it, oil it, and then I'll get some pictures once I get it all out. All right, well, there's all the gears, and as you can see, oh man, the bottom gears were just completely gunked. So that's the very top, next one, next one, next one, very bottom. And you can see as they went down further and further and further, just more gunkier they got. Inside was really gunked up. And these posts here and this one here that holds the gears, they were just so bad gunked that the gears didn't want to move. And then this little hole in here, it was also super gunked up. So I've already cleaned all that off. These little things here, they're like, they call them wound tips. They're actually wooden Q-tips. Don't use these on your ears because they will be extremely painful and called permanent damage. But anyway, they are great for getting into spots like down in there where you can't reach and really be able to clean that out in between. Because you want to get all that gunk and stuff out of there so that that it doesn't break loose, get into the gears and stop again. So Next time we look at this, it's going to be all cleaned up and rolling good. Okay, I first got the first gear in there, but I thought it would be important to go ahead and close. You know, not only do we got to get all this gunk off the outside of it here, all this around here on the outside, but we need to be able to clean inside that. And with that, of course, with WD-40 it helped loosen it up. If you take the end of a paper towel and twist it really, really tight, you can then take that, put it inside there, turn the wheel on it, and clean it. And you can see this here, all the stuff that's on this little section came out of the middle of that gear. So if you don't do this and use this, all that stays in there and just become gunked out. Clean it good, or you'll do it again. Okay, so we've got the gearbox cleaned up about as best as it's going to get. Understand that because these gears are so geared down, this one to this one to this one, this one, you cannot turn this one and expect the others to turn. It's just too much force required to do that. There's a couple of washers in there I had to be careful of. As I wiped off the thing, there was some little, very, very small plastic washers that sat in there that goes in between some as spacers, and also at the ends on these pieces that don't turn. So what's going to happen here is this piece here, which is the one that ultimately goes onto the little drive on that goes through here and on this ultimately to the little drive wheel, and that's what turns the motor. This here goes down in here. If I can hit that hole, come on, you can do it. There it is. You hit that hole right there and then wiggle it and boom. Now it's in place. There, so now, and then this box here fits over the top of that. It slides down. There we go. And then sits like that. There we go. Got it nice and tight. So it fits down tight. The drive wheel then sits over this side. You can see where it had been caught before. The motor bolts onto there, and that little gear there sticks up through this little hole, touches that gear in there. That one spins fast. This one spins really slow. Then the drive wheel turns the drive mechanism, the clock. So the next thing I'm going to do, so I've got it all cleaned up, all done. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to pull this off. Comes out as one mech. There we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull these apart again, put in some grease, just a dab of grease on each one, and then put it all back in, and that should go. Then the next thing we'll do is I need to make sure that this here, it's moving it's all right. It's moving easy. So I think this will be fine. But yeah, we need to make sure the clock, oh, we'll see, look, that's, oh, because it moves in there. Look at that. You got to make sure it's in the right place so it clears the thing. Oh, it's got a spring on it. Look at that. It's spring loaded to hold it. Well, isn't that interesting? You know, there's little things on this that the engineers did that you don't know what they did or why they did it, right? But, oh, I know why they got that spring in there. So it holds down against the little drive wheel that's here, because you can see where that drive wheel runs along here and turns this, which turns the clock. So we'll need to make sure we clean this really good. But unfortunately, what I discovered with the drive wheel is that it's got a flat spot on it. It's been sitting for 30 years in the same spot, so it's got a flat spot on it. I did manage to find one online. There's a gentleman at flippers.com. He has one of those drive wheels. This is the same place I talked about that solenoid. Plus, he said he also has the original or the felt stuff that goes on the roller wheels. So we may also get that from him. But right now I've got several things I'm ordering from him. He obviously had a jet rocket that they took apart, and somebody parted out. So anyway, all right, next thing is to grease it up, put it back together again.